Okay, so today's question is, um, will strength training improve my running? The answer is yes across the board, but it depends, of course, on what kind of running we're talking about. Endurance running, like strictly endurance running, like we're talking marathons and ultra marathons, we'll see less of a result. Essentially, there is no correlation between say leg strength and speed, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit more in a minute. Um, but so squatting alone, say using squatting as our example of leg strength training, squatting is not going to improve your speed. But in short term, in short distance running, we have people squat all the time, and sprinters, stuff like that. Why is that? Well, just because something's not directly correlated with an improvement in a specific variable doesn't mean that it doesn't contribute to improving that variable in the long run. And so the missing link here is explosiveness, because sprinters are faster the more explosive they are, generally as measured by jump height in like a box jump or just any kind of jumping. And leg strength does improve jumping. So what happens is, if you were to just train, if you were to do a bunch of squats and sprint, you'd find that your sprint wouldn't go up. If you were to do a bunch of, like box jumps and sprint, you'd find that, your sprinting would get, faster. But if you were to do squats and box jumps, you would find that it would improve much more than if you just did box jumps alone. And that's because squats are indirectly correlated with improved running speed through explosiveness, through box jumps, through jumps of any kind. So what happens is, yes, you do have to train your legs for strength. You do have to do squats and deadlifts in order to strengthen your legs, and that's because, again, it's part of a much larger network of coordinates of variables that all contribute to your speed, even though squatting alone isn't going to squatting alone is not going to take care of it. So the thing is, obviously speed is not important for distance runners, but another major benefit of strength training is obviously that any kind of strength training will improve bone density. As you get heavier loads added on progressively, your bones adapt to get stronger to resist that better. You also gain, improved musculature, improved connective tissue as a result of training. So, doing reps will improve, your ligaments, your tendons, the stuff that holds your body together, which in the long run will reduce your injury chance, which with endurance running is a big deal, because endurance runners tend to get all kinds of overuse injuries. So, yeah, like strength training will improve your endurance running as well, because it's going to, again, not directly improve your performance, but it's going to reduce your injury rate, which means that you'll be able to run longer. You won't have to worry about your training getting interrupted by an injury, and so across the board, strength training is useful for runners. Of course, it varies based on what your event is. If you're a short distance or a long distance runner, so essentially, short distance runners, sprinters, you're going to want to do a lot of sled work. You're going to want to do a lot of squats, deadlifts, other like lower body exercises like that. You're going to do a little bit of upper body work for the arms, just to contribute to the the arm swinging, to build momentum, and you're going to train strength honestly most of the time. Another thing is obviously the accommodation principle, which is that once you are performing a motion for repeatedly for more than 3 weeks, your body gets used to it, and then it's harder to gain performance increases. Now, that doesn't apply as much when we're talking about physiological changes like muscle building and endurance building. So that doesn't really matter with endurance running. So like most endurance runners will just fucking run forever to build endurance, and and yeah, that's the way to build endurance. But when it comes to short distance runners, you can't actually run too much, or else you risk accommodating, and then and then your body getting used to that, and then like you're not going to get the most out of your training. So sprinters actually surprisingly have to run less in their training, not just in terms of the fact that they're running shorter distances, but in the fact that it'll be taking up a lower volume of their overall work, because they'll be focusing on strength training. They'll be doing sled dragging, sled pushing, other GPP stuff to build their cardio, and they're going to they're going to run only when they need to. And like for example, we have an athlete at Westside who is a like a state whatever, a state champion or something, and essentially her times have been going down primarily because she's just been training with the Westside method. She's been her times have been improving, but she hasn't been running practically at all in practice, and that's that's just how it is. So for sprinting, a lot of strength training, say 3 or 4 days a week, maybe 1 day a week of sprinting. And then endurance running is a little bit different. You'll want to go, obviously, since endurance running, the focus is more on injury prevention than anything else. You're going to want to go with lighter weights, higher reps, which are better for building connective tissue. So we're looking at upwards of 30, 40, 50 reps at a time, just to kind of get a pump going, but B to build up the connective tissue. And so you're still going to want to do squats, deadlifts, the typical lower body stuff. You're also going to want to do, again, a little bit of upper body stuff for the arms, particularly endurance stuff for the biceps, because when you're holding your arm at this 90-degree angle, the whole time that you're running, and you're, swinging that back and forth, what happens is when your arms start to get tired out, that running form deteriorates, and then you can't actually, run as easily. So, surprisingly, training your biceps is another thing that plays into, endurance running, even though you wouldn't normally think of that. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, that's how your strength training can help your running. I apologize for my phone and my computer making all kinds of noises while I was taking this video. But that's it for tonight. So, like the video, comment the video, rate the video. Talk to you guys later. Oh, an addendum to that last video. Like I was saying, obviously you want to do explosiveness training for sprinters as well, and for distance runners, because that is what ties everything together. Kind of a stupid omission, but yeah, that should be done alongside your strength training. In fact, you should theoretically do jumps after you've done your heavy lifting for the day. So, like you do your squats or your deadlifts, and then you do your jumps, and then your accessory work, your GPP work, and then you're done. And yep, that's it. Good night.